Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. I'm Jay, and this is my co-host Rex.
Yay, we're finally getting ready to start the summer season soon.
Yes. Long days and a longer list of anime that we need to get through, so let's get right to it, huh? This is summer 2019. We have been officially doing this for pretty much a year now, actually.
Yeah,
a year since we started this channel. I'm actually pretty happy with how things have gone at this point. It's kind of weird to think that we've been recording these for about a year now.
Yeah, time goes by... I will say time goes by a little faster when I'm paying so much attention to the anime seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, shit, it's already been 3 months.
Yeah, and...
Like, it feels like, spring season just started and it's already almost over.
Yeah, and we've had a crazy spring season though, because we've been trying out like new things, like trying to switch up our format and stuff like that. Which admittedly just hasn't been working. we thought that if we switched to a tri-weekly basis, that we'd be able to just do all the shows, but then also have more free time to record other stuff that we wanted to do. Thing is, neither of those things happened, so...
Yeah, because work and whatnot.
Work and just kind of a combination of laziness and just kind of getting apathy. It's like, because when we don't have to, worry about a weekly schedule, we kind of were like, we can catch up with it next week, or whatever.
Yeah, but, let's talk about the new anime coming out next season, because, like you said, there's a long list and some real bangers in here.
Some really good things and some really bad things, and things I'm not entirely sure how to feel about, judging from the PVs that we've seen, because we looked at the PVs, how we always prepare for these, we look at the PVs of just about anything we can get our hands on, and...
Just pretty much everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything goes up at this point, so a special thanks to... there was a YouTuber who had uploaded most of the PVs, and that wasn't...
There's a couple different ones.
Yeah, well, there's one in particular that I get them, One-san, I think their name is, Onesan. I don't know, something like that. We'll probably put it in the description, link to some of the PV videos. In the meantime, I'll start us off with A Certain Scientific Accelerator. I don't know how to feel about this, because you actually had expressed your disdain with the third season of Index.
Yeah, I still haven't even finished it.
Yeah, me neither.
I dropped it because it was incredibly rushed. It was less visually impressive than the other seasons.
And they changed the goddamn sound effects.
Yeah, they changed the fucking Imagine Breaker sound. They changed it from the traditional sound it was to a car driving by really fast.
It's like a vacuum sucking something up that it's not supposed to.
Yeah, so needless to say, I have recently been not happy with JC staff. They're also doing One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah.
Which I stopped watching as well.
Now, to be fair, and this is something that I have brought up, it's not necessarily the studio's fault that things turn out bad. It could be
true.
It isn't entirely
at the end of the day, the responsibility falls on the studio,
because they are the one producing it. They're the one putting the money forward, and whether or not they get talented directors or not is a matter of opinions, and also just kind of a matter of the product itself. Because if you compare, for instance, One Punch Man Season 1, Madhouse did not have as big of a budget or staff or whatever have you, that it had no bigger than your average stuff, average things across the board, average funding, staff, everything. But everybody they got on board was just so passionate about it, and it showed in every frame.
Let's talk about Accelerator.
I actually am looking forward to this.
So, before we watched the PVA, I was like, I don't know what to think about it. I'm not really excited, but the PV looked very visually impressive. They got a different art director.
Yeah, the art, I noticed that too. I was like, okay, this art looks different. Just very different.
Yeah, it looks more visually impressive. They have the voice actor for Accelerator.
And he's doing great as per usual.
I love that voice actor. just so, like, he gets so into it.
Yeah, and you have to remember, this was his first role. This was the role that kickstarted his career. So obviously he's going to bring his A game to this.
So it seems like, it really seems like they're trying to build a, like, Marvel Cinematic Universe for Index.
Well, and that is kind of the thing they did, sort of, because everybody
with
Railgun,
yeah.
Because everybody loved Railgun, and they decided let's explore, because Index is more about exploring the magical side of things, whereas Railgun, and by proxy Accelerator, is more about exploring the scientific side of Academy City, which the scientific stuff is incredibly fascinating, and it's Accelerator. We get to see Accelerator do crazy Accelerator things.
Being a quote-unquote villain that he is.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not entirely sure when this is taking place. It showed him with his crutch.
And his collar, yeah.
And his collar. So I think it might be partly alongside Season 3. Probably not, actually, because there was a lot of Accelerator in Season 3.
Yeah.
So maybe it's after or before or something. There's Misaka.
Yeah, Misaka clones. Yeah. And then First Order, or Last Order.
Last Order,
yeah. Last Order.
Little one's name.
Yeah, Last Order.
Yeah, so I don't know entirely what the story's going to entail, but I mean, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, me too. Like, I personally am looking forward to it, like, because I want to see JC staff and improve from where they were before with the botched third season of Index, because I was super hyped for Index. I'm sure a lot of people who were waiting for Season 3 of Index is like, oh man, Season 3 of Index is finally here.
Yeah.
And
I remember
it's a complete
binging
disappointment.
all of Index and loving it.
Yeah, because Index is just so much fun. And then Season 3 hit, and I'm like, well, this kind of sucks.
So, yeah, looking forward to this. Hopefully, if it does well, we can get like a certain robot rolling around maid or something.
Oh, yeah.
Get her a spin-off series or something like that.
Indeed.
Yeah, but next up, we got a new action adventure from... It's a collaboration between Studio White Fox and Studio Asred.
I think it is Asred.
White Fox... You know, the name speaks for itself.
Yeah, we have ReZero, Steins Gate, and Goblin Slayer most recently, as far as I can remember.
Asri, they did like Shuffle, Miraniki.
Did you watch Shuffle?
No.
Okay, Shuffle was okay. I'll just say that. Shuffle was okay. But I did watch Future Diary, and as much as I like that show, I recognize it is also an incredibly trashy show.
So this is called Arifureta, From Commonplace to the World's Strongest. And it is an isekai where the main character is he is just your average high school student, blah, blah, blah.
We've heard this plot point ad nauseum at this point.
Him and a bunch of classmates were transported into another world to be the heroes of the world. Except he was... everyone else got cool jobs, and he got synergist. Yeah, synergist is what they call it, which is basically just a crafter class. And then he falls into an abyss and meets a little girl or something. I don't know if it's a little girl or like some kind of creature.
To be honest, it sounds like it's kind of riding on Shield Heroes' popularity.
A little bit.
Yeah, where it's like, it's the isekai protagonist, except not really, because he's actually in the suckiest class that it is
a light novel, so
I figured out that light novel adaptations can be either really good or really bad, like especially isekai stuff. I mean, one of the best light novel adaptations that I've seen recently was Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Oh, yeah. For sure. That was amazing.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was great. And so I'll withhold judgment. I don't entirely know who the staff behind this is, like who like the major director taking point on this is, but I like White Fox. I think White Fox has made some good stuff. I absolutely adored Goblin Slayer. Yeah. So I think that they could... that this could actually be a decent show.
It's worth giving a shot.
Exactly.
At least.
And whether or not we'll be talking about it throughout the entire season, that'll be something we determine as the weeks go on.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's going to get edged out, is my guess.
Yeah, probably. Because we're only going to be like talking about 6 shows this season, as opposed to what we've done in the past, which is 12. So we're going to figure that out as we go along. So next up, Astra, Lost in Space. the year is 2061 when space travel is now possible, blah, 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 blah. Basically, a bunch of students get transported to the far reaches of space, and they have to try and escape back to their home planet. As far as I understood from it.
It looks like a survival series, really. They're like stuck in some lost reaches of space, which I want to point out that their trip to another planet was supposed to be just a school trip.
Yeah.
So like they're high school students and they're like, oh yeah, go on your planetary camp. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, planetary camp is what they called it. This is an adventure series done by Studio Lerche.
Oh yeah, Lerche. They were the ones behind Kino's Journey, right?
I'm not sure. There'd also be.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Asabase, yeah, Kino's Journey.
We talked about that last year. How interesting.
Yeah, Lerche's did a bunch of stuff.
I actually, judging from the first PV, it was just like a girl kind of floating in space, kind of panicking, and I'm actually kind of fascinated by that. Like,
it kind of stressed me out a little bit.
Yeah, like, because it's kind of claustrophobia because but instead you're just surrounded by so much open space where there's just literally nothing to gravitate to or grasp onto, so you're just getting stressed out from that. And I don't know if claustrophobia would apply, but I just imagine that whole situation and that feeling would be terrifying.
It's the opposite of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Because instead of being trapped, well, I guess the suit is where you're trapped in, but it's just like space.
Yeah, it's just so much empty space.
The second PV was far more like generic anime people looking.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, oh, there's like a rugged protagonist and stuff like that. He's going to be plucky and awesome throughout this entire thing.
It was very tonally different from the first and second PV. It looks like it's not going to be a super dark series. Like they're probably all going to get back onto the planet.
And it might just be more of like the journey and how they get back home. That could be fascinating.
Unless they pull just like a random like 3 episodes in, someone dies.
Someone dies in a horrible way. Like they get randomly hit by an asteroid or something and just get like taken away or killed by an alien.
So yeah, worth checking out at least. So next up we got a horror. Well, it's called horror. Yeah, it didn't look very horror.
Just judging from the trailer, did not look horror in the slightest.
Yeah, it's being done by what was it? Land Q Studios and Production IG. It's a collaboration called BEM. I think it's probably not BEM.
Yeah.
But it's like so you got future, or I'm not sure it's future or not. It's a city where, there's like the ghetto side and then the upper crust side.
Yeah, exactly.
The port town, Libra City. So, and then you have an investigator who's going over to check out the shitty part of the city for like some extra work or something. And then there's a bunch of monsters that I think the thing is they have the ability to look like people.
Yeah, I think, judging from the trailer, that's what I think that was their claim to fame, but there's something about them that kind of betrays their true nature, but, and so they're not entirely able to live normal lives.
Yeah, but their goal is to fight for the sake of humanity. So, be if that means they're good guys or bad guys, we don't really know, because they could be like, we're the good guys, but also we're killing people for their own good.
Absolutely.
Or something. But I think the story is mostly going to follow her. The PV didn't really show us much, except it was just like a funky character.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like. It was mainly just like kind of introducing the characters, and I don't think there were like any subtitles, so we couldn't really hear or read what the characters were thinking, really, because I don't speak fluent Japanese, and I'm pretty sure it didn't have any subtitles, so we couldn't even.
It looks
discern what they were thinking.
It looks like it's worth taking a look at.
Yeah,
the character designs were really interesting looking.
Yeah, the character designs look good enough, and that's something.
The premise sounds good.
It sounds relatively generic, but we can see how they pull that off because, as I have said multiple times, there are no original ideas. Everything is a copy, and it's just how each director, artist, etc. brings new life to a dead genre. And who knows? The weird thing is that it is called a horror show. Did not look anything horror-y.
Yeah.
Looked maybe at more action sort of deal, but who knows? Maybe the PV didn't show nearly what it could. So next up, quite possibly one of the most awkward-looking shows, Copcraft.
This is an action fantasy by Millipensi Studio,
which if you don't know, are the studio that were behind both Berserk, the new series of Berserk, both seasons, and those are kind of infamous for being not good.
Yeah.
And this kind of showed that it's much of the same, to be quite honest.
It was really...
In the action scenes, it looked good.
Yeah, like there was a lot of action shots in the trailer that looked really good.
Like,
but they had walking. They had Berserk walking.
Oh god, it looked so bad. And like the action scene that most struck out to me was when a guy pulls a gun, the main character like grabs his arm, like kind of knocks it away, and then punches him, and it looked relatively fluid. But at the same time, that walking, it looked absolutely awful. We saw like the first shot, it showed somebody walking, we're like, oh god, that didn't look good. And then the next second PV, it showed like the main character walking, we're like, was he supposed to be walking?
I was ready to rewind it and watch it a few times.
It's like, oh, that looks so bad.
So it's like a parallel world is kind of touching our world.
Yeah, it's sort of merging.
Yeah, so there's like the new city that everybody wants to live at because it's got people, it's got what were they, the other people, like elves or fairies? Yeah, fairies and demons. So it's like a buddy cop show with this gruff, grizzled cop guy, and
who's played by Kenjiro Suda.
Yeah, and then a female knight, like a fairy knight or something like that.
And it just seems like it could be as generic as humanly possible, but at the same time, I mean, I like buddy cop shows, or at least I like them when they're done well. And conceptually, it sounds like it's like, okay, that's bizarre, I'll give it some rope, but at the same time, this studio has just churned out garbage.
Yeah, and especially that they're showing, like, that really rough animation in the trailer.
Yeah, this is almost like One Punch Man Season 2 levels of bad in the trailer. Almost.
I don't know, I'd put it worse.
You think? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the animation in that trailer was at least animation.
Yeah.
Not just fucking using the move tool in Photoshop to move a thing along.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this was actually Ninja Slayer Season 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out just because I want to see if it's garbage or not.
I kind of want to too, if for no reason other than hearing Kenjiro Suda being a badass, because I like Kenjiro Suda. He's a really good voice actor, and he's getting a lot of work this season.
Oh yeah. So next up is we got an action comedy by JC Staff called "Do You Love Her Mom and Her Two-Hit Multi-Target Attacks," otherwise known as everyone's calling it Isekai Mom.
Isekai Mom, yeah. It has been a long-standing joke in our friend group where we have wanted to see like a magical girl mom show, and this isn't quite that, but just hearing like the description, I was like, okay, this actually kind of reminds me of that idea. And because general premise, guy gets transported into a video game world. Ooh, we haven't heard this before. But the trick is, he also got brought along with his mom.
Also, it's a government scheme.
Yeah. Is that going to be explored or explained, or is it just going to be jazz hands?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty funny show. The PV was like explaining everyone's like class and age and everything. The government agent, it was like her age was like, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
That's what it was listed as.
The mom's age, I don't know if you caught it, it said mother's secret.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, because they were like, his mom looks like she's too young to be his actual mom.
Yeah, because she's a very attractive lady, and he's 15 years old, and she's probably in her 30s, but she doesn't look it at all. Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking forward to this. I think it could be a very cute, potentially funny show, at the very least.
It's like stupid kind of funny.
Yeah.
So it has to be funny without being too stupid.
Yeah,
or else it just kind of gets in the territory of boring.
Yeah,
the same thing every week.
Absolutely.
So it needs good writing. That's for sure. Well, I mean, anything needs good writing, but
yeah.
What's
next up? Is quite possibly one of the most anticipated shows this season, and certainly one Crunchyroll is pushing a lot, Dr. Stone.
Yeah, they are. This is their big money maker this season. Crunchyroll's like putting out trailers and all this promotional material for it.
And I don't blame them. I've heard a lot of people, like, or at least a good friend of ours, talk this series up a lot in, like,
the internet's talking it up a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people really seem to like it, and our friend's justification is it's not a typical shonen series, and I think that's a point in its favor for sure. It looks very... It's fascinating. It's going to be fascinating, because the whole concept is, if you've seen the promotional materials, then you know, but it's basically trying to rebuild the world from scratch after society has been destroyed, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like what was it, like 3,000 something?
Yeah, something like a long time, a few thousand years have passed.
I think it was only like 1,000 or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's like everything in society, all the people, all the animals, everything got turned into stone, and people are slowly starting to break out of being turned into stone. And yeah, this main character is like, he wants to fix everything via science.
Yes, with the power of science. And they really want to press that he's a science geek, because his shirt or whatever it is, very pretty.
Jacket.
Yeah, it says E equals MC squared on it.
It's like, that's science. People know what that is, right?
Yeah.
How do you do, fellow scientists?
Yeah, and then you've got his best friend who the main character is referring to constantly as you big oaf, and he's just the muscle. You need the brain and the brawn.
Yeah, he looked pretty funny in the PV.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I found this.
Good, like, use it, like, crush it.
Yeah. I found this other thing. Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks like a charming show, and from what I understand, it's also gets into a little bit of dark territory, because you have the main character who wants to save everybody, but then you have this antagonist who wants to save only a select few people.
He wants to save the strong ones.
Yes, exactly.
Or like, I think his motivation was rebuilding society from the ones he deems
worthy. Yeah,
like that those people should exist.
And that seems really fascinating.
Yeah. So this is another, I think, Promised Neverland situation where the same thing with like Shield Hero, where the source material's very loved. It's still kind of new. Mm-hmm. And everyone's hyping it up a lot. Yeah,
absolutely. It could be, like, just judging from, I can't really say it just judging from this PV, but just judging from history, like Promised Neverland in winter, like, everybody hyped that up and loved it, and it turned out to be my favorite show that season. But that was just because it was handled by a really good studio and had absolutely impeccable, like, art direction and voice acting.
The same amount of people hyped up Shield Hero.
And Shield Hero, I thought it's good.
Yeah, it's still a good show. It's just not Promised Neverland good.
But who knows? Maybe I'm hoping that it's more so the former rather than the latter. I want it to be a really good show, and I have faith that it could be, because it seems fascinating enough.
So yeah, definitely gonna check this out. Next up is Ensemble Stars. This is a music slice of life by David Productions,
and it's a boys' idol show.
It's a boy idol, pretty boys. If you like it, you like it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you don't. I'm not really interested.
Yeah, I'm not really much into idol shows in general. Like Zombieland Saga being the exception, but yeah, this looks like people are gonna either like this or they're not going to. Really, if you like idol shows, particularly boy idol shows, then I'd say check it out. But I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I already know for a fact I'm not going to.
Yeah. That aside, we got a action comedy from David Production as well.
Yeah, David Production is producing like a few things this season.
Which I'm sure this is going to be what they're sinking most of their time into.
Yeah, just judging from the PV. Oh my god,
the PV was Fire Force. It's a series that is made by the same guy who did Soul Eater.
Yeah. And I was like, that art style looks familiar. Oh, that's why, because it's Soul Eater. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. General premise is, I think it's like it looks like 50s kind of looking.
Yeah,
it says year 198 of the solar area in Tokyo, so I'm pretty sure
it's a new era. Like, because if I remember correctly, each era in Japan is determined by the emperor that's currently ruling over it. And so when one emperor dies, that's the end of his era, and then the next era is the next emperor, and so on and so forth. So,
but it's year 198. So I'm pretty sure it's just like a fantasy version of Tokyo.
It's
sci-fi, not fantasy.
Yeah, it definitely says Tokyo on their fire helmets, which I think is actually really cool.
But it looks like 50s, 60s kind of technology. But the idea is people explode into fire, and then they also become monsters. But there's also, it happened to other people, but they didn't turn into monsters. They just got ability to control fire in some different way.
Yeah, and it's just all the different ways that people can control fire. The main person, the main character, can shoot fire out of his feet.
So they're firefighters that fight fire via using fire.
Yeah.
I don't know how this works. Maybe their fire is stronger, so they put out the other fire.
Maybe they absorb them or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this is supposed to work, but just judging from the PV, oh my god.
It was hype as fuck.
Yeah, David Production is seriously putting in their JoJo's Bizarre Adventure money into this. Oh my god, it looked so good. Like, the action and the music and everything about this PV looked great. This is definitely one of the shows I'm going to be watching this season.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
No contest. I'm going to be. So, next up is a music slice of life show. We've had a couple of those this season. By Studio Lerche called Given. It seems like it might be like yaoi, but with music, sort of. Because the description
it's like
said,
romance boy band thing.
Yeah, it said in the description it was alternative love, an alternative love drawn by Kiza Natsuki. So it kind of makes me wonder: is that supposed to mean that it's supposed to be like a gay romance show? Which, okay, fine. Like, I'm sure some people will be into it. Or is it supposed to be like more like friendship or something like that, platonic or whatever?
Yeah, the trailer didn't really point to romance.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure a lot of people would think that it does. Me personally, I didn't see it, but anyway, it looks like, at least the music sounded like it was going to be good. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're into, like, good musical shows, like, it kind of seemed like it was going to be focusing more on rock, but which kind of makes me think it might be a weaker version of, like, Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. I've heard that show is really good, by the way.
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either, but I just know that it's about a band of guys just traveling the country on tour, and it's supposed to be like their kind of adventure across the country. And this is more just like, oh, it's a rock music club, pretty much, is what the impression.
Yeah, the main character, he I think it's basketball and playing the guitar he really likes, and then he starts kind of falling out of it. He meets a guy who ends up, I think, fixing his guitar, and then after that he gets like super into it, and then conflicts ensue, and they play music together, and it looks just kind of like a drama, like a musical drama. Yeah, which I'm sure it could be good. And it definitely for a certain group of people, but it might be one of those shows that is kind of eked out for me this season. Like, I'll give it a shot.
I'll definitely give it a shot as well.
So next up, we got a fantasy adventure by Studio Nexus,
which when I saw this, I was thinking it's like, okay, so it's sort of like somebody just looked at Madoka and then looked at Evangelion and just decided to throw it into a blender, because it's magical girls controlling like mech creatures, pretty much is what it looked like.
Granbelm.
And we were watching this promotional video, and we saw, it's like, man, that art style looks really familiar. It kind of reminds me of ReZero. Turns out it's done by the team that's doing ReZero. Yeah, not the studio, just like the
director.
And the character designer, right?
The director and the character designer. Director Masaharu Watanabe and character designer Shinichiro Otsuka.
Yep, and it looks like it's just gonna, like I said, it's kind of just looks like it's going to be Madoka Magica meets Evangelion, and probably there's going to be some tragic magical girl shit along the way, because that's the modern magical girl trope.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks good.
Like, all the character designs look really cool. The animation looked pretty smooth. The mechs look pretty sweet.
Yeah, the main mech looks a lot like a Unit 1. Like, I can't say this enough.
Not nearly as lanky.
No, not nearly, but it just kind of like the glowy parts of it and stuff like that. I was just like, okay, I got Unit 1 vibes just looking at this thing. But point being, I think that this is a series where it could be very good or it could be very bad, I think, because modern magical girl shows have been sort of a crapshoot, really. And they've been trying to be like dark and subversive, but usually are just kind of laughable with how bad they are. Magical Girl site. for instance.
Still need to finish that.
I still need to finish that too, just because I want to see like how stupid it possibly gets. Like I'm at that point, I'm just committed. I want to see how much of a dumpster fire it turns into.
Grand Realm looks really good.
Yeah, I think it's worth looking into at the very least. I'm looking forward to it.
So next up, what is it?
It's Hensky. Are you willing to fall in love with a pervert as long as she's a cutie? I saw that basically the general premise is like the main guy is a member of the calligraphy club, right? Or he was helping them clean after school one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
And he was cleaning the calligraphy club.
And so he notices one day that that there's a note left for him on a desk. He opens it and it just says, "I like you," and next to that note is a pair of a girl's panties. And he's trying to determine which of the 4 girls in the calligraphy club wrote the note and left the panties there for him. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Ichigo 100%, if anybody's ever read that or seen that series. I recommend reading it, to be totally honest, because it's one of the few, like, ecchi harem shows that I thought actually was pretty good. Like, actually a bit of an emotional ride.
Yeah, it's not a lot to say about this show. It's looking like it's towing the line between trashy and funny. I think it could. If it is just trashy enough, it could be a great show. Quite frankly, like once again, I thought Ichigo 100%, the manga anyway, pretty good manga actually, very good. I read it in high school. It still reminds me of it's one of those series I still look back on fondly. I have no idea where the show is going to go. Once again, could be incredibly trashy, or could be funny. Could be both. So next up is how heavy are the dumbbells that you lift? This looks like it's dipping more into the trashier direction because it looks very, very ecchi from the material we've seen.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of funny, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of looking forward to it. It looks like kind of one of those guilty pleasure watches.
Absolutely, and it seems like it's gonna be like it's a bit of a harem show, except told. I mean, no, it's not a harem show necessarily. It's more like an ecchi show seen from the perspective of one of the girls rather than a guy protagonist, because the main character is a girl who likes to eat, but then also recognizes I'm getting fat, so I'm gonna go to a gym.
I can't help but think this is another one of those targeted anime where they're trying to get people to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Like how a laid-back camp's like, get outside, you fucking weebs. Or Sweetness and Lightning is like, for the love of God, have children.
Yeah, they're trying to get people to work out via this anime. I think it'd be pretty interesting if they actually get into workout methods.
Yeah.
Like detailed into it, but also at the same time, it's just like, oh, well, you gotta work this muscle, then this specific way. Also, look at these anime girls' abs.
Yeah, and then maybe it'll pull a Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress and have like epic back
muscles.
Oh my god, yeah.
How to ignite fetishes I didn't know I had.
Next up, Don Machi Season 2, also known as Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon Season 2. I've never seen this show. I've never seen the first season.
It's really good. It's the first season, without spoiling anything, it's just a RPG world that feels a lot like an isekai, but it's not actually an isekai. It has very good character designs, very memeable girls.
Very good character designs with the exception of Hestia's weird-ass boob ribbon.
That's what I mean by memeable. It was she was definitely like the girl of the season.
Yeah.
Back when the show first came out, and I don't remember when. I feel like it was years ago.
Yeah,
probably.
It feels like
I know there was a spin-off series about Artoria, I think her name was.
The girl that Belle fell in love with, right? And kind of inspired him.
Girl.
Yeah, okay. I heard about that recently as well, but I've never seen anything about this show, and I don't know, like, I might give it a look, but I don't know if it's something I particularly want to binge right away. Like, it's one of those shows that have been on the back burner for me for a while, so I'll probably give it a look eventually, but for people who are fans of the first season and the spinoff, this is for you.
So next up, we got an action adventure by Encourage Films, Isekai Cheat Magician.
At least the music will be good.
Yeah, the the guy doing the music did the soundtrack for was it Made in Abyss?
Yeah,
Revue Starlight. What were the other ones? Yeah, Yoshiaki Fujisawa, Love Live.
Yeah, Love Live and
or not Made in Abyss. Sorry, that's a different guy. What was the big one I was thinking of?
Place Further Than the Universe.
Place Further Than the Universe. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Made in Abyss is like an American guy or a European guy or something
like that. But point being, I think the music for the series will be great, but not much else.
Yeah, the PvE looked incredibly.
It's bland.
Yeah, it's bland.
Yeah, it's bland. It's just very bland. It seems very
flavor
boring.
of the month isekai garbage that didn't look interesting at all.
Because stop me if you've heard this one, guys. A pair of people get transported to a fantasy world where normally they're just kind of your average people. Here, they're incredibly powerful magicians. It just sounds about as bland as you could possibly get.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot just because I really like that music director.
Yeah, the music director did really good. I mean, for the previous shows that he's worked on, like Place Further Than the Universe and stuff like that. And if nothing else, it'll be good to hear the music. But other than that, I don't really see much else reason to watch this.
Yeah, the best way to enjoy the PV is to close your eyes and just don't watch it. Just listen to it.
Yeah, just listen to the.
Because it had good music in the PV.
Yeah, listen to the pretty music. Next up, a series that I actually might need to binge and feel more compelled to binge. The second season of Karakai Jozu no Takagi-san, also known as Skilled Teaser Takagi-san.
Yes, this first season I watched it a while ago, like a good while ago, and it's amazing. It's funny, it's adorable how she's always trying to tease him, but like he gets back at her like every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just girl teases guy because she secretly likes him, and the guy secretly likes her, but they never say it to each other. So
it's like a somewhat more wholesome version of Kaguyasana.
Yeah, it's a lot less like bombastic and memey than Kaguyasana,
and also a little bit less mind gamey. Like there's like
it's less ridiculous.
Like, okay, yeah,
there's still
less
lots
over
of
the
mind
top.
games going on, and there's no narrator to make it seem even more over the top. But yeah, I'd say it's kind of fair to compare it to Kaguya. It's just like a lot more down to earth version.
Yeah, exactly, and younger kids too, so it's a little bit more innocent.
I think they're in like middle school.
Yeah,
even though they look like they're in elementary school.
Yeah, and Takagi's big ass forehead.
It's a 5 head.
Yeah, no
6
shit.
head even.
She's got a giant forehead.
Yeah.
But it looks like a lot of fun and definitely something I was like, okay, I've heard the show is good. After seeing the PV for this, I'm like, okay, I might need to watch this show actually. Because I feel a lot more compelled to watch it.
You got 2 weeks.
Yep, I've got 2 weeks
to binge it.
That'll be plenty of time.
It's like 12 episodes.
Yeah, 12 episodes. I could watch an episode a day and be done before that point. So, who knows?
So next up is Kochiki Wakai Nobunaga. It's basically, what if Nobunaga was a pretty teenage boy?
Yeah. It's a pretty much... I guess they just wanted to make Nobunaga a husbando material. Like, if you... unless you were somehow, like, thought Nobunaga from Drifters was husbando material, which I'd question your taste, because holy crap, he's terrifying in that. But
It looks very shoujo, very pretty boys. Not a lot of substance there.
Yeah.
It looks like it's marketing towards the people who like pretty boys.
Yeah, much. Pretty boys swinging around swords and cutting down things.
I want to reiterate that making a show marketed towards people who like pretty boys is not bad. Or on High School Host Club was a fantastic show, and that was marketed towards those kind of people.
I mean, and Host Club, to be fair, was kind of a subversion of those tropes, but at the same time, it was marketed toward those. And yes, it was a fantastic show. Mm-hmm. Here, it could just be eye candy, and something I'm not personally going to be into.
I don't even think I'm really going to watch the first episode.
Yeah, me neither. Like the sword fighting animation and stuff from what we did see didn't look particularly impressive or anything. It just it looked kind of flat and static and
just kind of churned out pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an original. So it's weird. I don't know where this is coming from.
I mean, Studio Dean is not does not have a huge is not a particularly huge studio, like, and their animation quality has never been, like, amazingly top-notch. I mean...
They did
Konosuba.
Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, they did?
Seven Deadly Sins was
I've actually haven't
really good.
But I haven't seen Seven Deadly Sins yet.
Once again, separation of studio and staff.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
just generally from what I've seen regarding Studio Dean, like, Konosuba has never been, like, was never really about, like, its action sequences, for instance.
So, real quick. Real quick. I am looking at the staff right now, and the director is Noriyuki Abe. Does that name sound familiar at all?
Yes. Remind me again who that is, though.
No, guess. Go and guess first.
Noriyuki Abe. It sounds like... Was he behind... He wasn't behind Samurai Champloo. That was...
No, it's a pretty big thing, though. It's Bleach.
Okay.
The director, storyboard, episode director for Bleach.
Okay. I was like, all right, I know I've heard that name. I remember seeing it.
GTO as well. Storyboard for
okay.
GTO, director for GTO. Great Teacher Onizuka, if you don't know what that is.
Okay, so he was a former Pierrot director, it's what it seems like. Because I'm pretty sure both of those shows were done by Studio Pierrot.
I'm not sure, yeah.
But yeah, Noriyuki Abe, huh?
God, maybe I actually have to check it out now.
It might actually be worth looking at it. Like, barring some of our initial, like,
it's still, like, everything I said before holds true. The PV looked incredibly boring and bland and static.
Yeah, and who knows? It could surprise me. It very well could surprise me, but I don't know. Like, Bleach eventually kind of went completely off the rails. That could also just be source material problems, but I don't know. So, next up, Lord L. Malloy II's Case Files. It is another goddamned Fate spinoff.
It looked really good. Visually.
I'm not discrediting it. I'm just saying, as if the Fate series didn't have enough shit going for it and enough stuff that you needed to keep track of. But it looks really good, and I'm actually looking forward to this one because it's from the perspective of a Waver Velvet from Fate Zero. He was the master of Iskender in that series, and he was a great character.
I saw a little bit of Fate Zero when you were watching it.
Yeah.
But I never watched it, and I've actually never seen an entire Fate series to completion. I'm part of the crowd that's like, oh god, Fate is too intimidating. I have no intention of ever getting into it because it's just so much.
Yeah,
I know it's good. I know it is. But it's just so much, man.
Yeah, I totally get it. And, like, I'm probably going to watch this just because I liked Fate Zero. But there's still more Fate stuff that I need to watch. And at the same time, there's just too much, man. Like, there's just way too much.
So it'll probably be good. It's being handled by Studio Troika. They just recently did Bloom Into You. They did Recreators. Aldno Zero.
Recreators. That was the show that deserved way more credit than it got.
Yeah. It's because it was behind the Amazon Strike paywall, I think it was.
God,
at the
yes.
time.
Anime Strike. I'm glad that's gone, to be quite honest. But still, that was a series that should have been way bigger than it was. And because I adored Recreators.
It's seasonal Fate.
Mm-hmm.
More Fate stuff. Next up is Machikado Mazoku. It's a comedy fantasy being done by JC Staff.
It looks like Moe Blob stuff, so that's right up your alley.
Cute Moe Blob show about a girl that wakes up with demon powers, but she doesn't actually have any powers. I think she just has the horns and the tail.
Yeah, and it's kind of seems like it could be kind of funny because, her whole shtick is that she's supposed to defeat, a magical girl who lives in her neighborhood. The problem being, she's ridiculously incompetent. She's actually, the way that they describe her in the description is she has less power than your average teenage girl.
Yeah, it just looks like a Moe Blob comedy that I'll probably check out. Looks adorable.
It looks cute. The art styles look cute, but I think I saw that. I'm like, oh god, that's a lot of pastel coloring. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like something that could be relatively cute. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it. I just don't know if I'm going to watch it. So next up, kind of on the subject of more demon people, Mao-sama retry.
It looked incredibly boring.
Yeah, what is with the main character's design? He's
Yeah.
got like a massive forehead and an even bigger mullet.
Yeah, I'm not big on the mullet design.
He kind of reminds me of that character from Yu Yu Hakusho. You know which one I'm talking about? Crap, I can't remember.
Toguro?
Not Toguro, Sensui, I think his name
Oh
was.
yeah, the other not as interesting villain.
The guy who was willing to gamble a shitload of money. Oh, I know it wasn't Sensui. Crap. It was, I forget his name, but he was someone that Yusuke's sister, I think, fell in love with.
Anyway, far less interesting show.
Yeah.
It's an action-adventure being done by Akachi Epilka, which is the name of a studio, and not anything that's made up.
Yeah. Not the name of, not like an author's pin name or anything like that.
It sounds like somebody sneezed.
Akachi Epilka!
But it's a isekai where a guy gets summoned into a fantasy world, and he meets a girl, and he's a dark lord, and
yeah,
I don't care.
It's Overlord, but somehow less interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna give it a shot.
I don't think so either. All right, next one though.
Yeah, O Maidens in Your Savage Season. It's a romance done via Studio La Duce, I think it is. But the biggest thing for this is it's got Masahiro Ando on board.
Yes, and I remember hearing that name. I was like, okay, that name sounds really familiar. Why? I was driving myself crazy, like thinking, where have I heard that name before? And then you were looking through his works. I'm like, oh my god, that's right.
He's worked on Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist, Ghost in the Shell.
He was the director for Sword of the Stranger, which, holy crap, that movie's great. The fight animation's so damn smooth.
He's just done so much good stuff. Wolf's Rain, he directed Seriously Jaeger.
Yeah.
Just absolute killer background.
Yeah, and so this seems a little interesting because it looks like it's going to be a little bit more. He seems to excel in action sort of in action styling because with Sirius the Jaeger and stuff like that, he's really good. I've never seen any of his more down to earth stuff like Hanasako Iraha, but seems like it's kind of going way out of his comfort zone. So we'll see how he can do.
So the general idea is it's girls in a literature club together. They're like, "What do you want to do before you die?" One says, "I want to have sex." And that is apparently the spark that's pushing them on their path towards adulthood. So it looks fucking amazing.
It looks really good.
The character designs, the animation looks so good from the PV we saw. It's got a lot of pedigree behind it. It's probably going to be pretty well written. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. It looks like probably the best drama of the season.
I think so too. It's probably going to be the best drama of the season. I'm looking forward to it. So next up, Restaged Dream Days. So a little bit of a correction. This was the series that I said, oh my god, the pastel coloring in this shit. Because
it's a fucking mobile game.
It's a mobile idle game adaptation. It's about as generic looking as you can get.
Yeah, it's cutesy, just cute girls.
There was the colors were so bright, it was actually starting to hurt my eyes a little bit. I'm like, oh god, I can't look at this for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it looks like a cash grab, honestly, and just to try and promote the mobile game or something.
Now, whether or not the mobile game is good, and whether or not the show will be any good, remains to be seen. I know for a fact I'm not going to watch it. I just know I'm not going to.
Yeah, me neither. There's the fifth series of Symphogear. I don't know what it's about. I'm not going to start it now.
Because it's season 5.
If you're interested, there it is.
Yeah, in about 2 weeks.
We got a slice of life music from C Station. Star Mew, 3rd season. It looks like Very Pretty Boys. Don't know what it's about. If you like it, there it is.
And this one actually, god, this trailer was actually really fascinating to watch. I loved the soundtrack and stuff.
Oh yeah, this was the Persona looking one, right?
Yeah, this is the Ones Within.
It's a drama by Studio Silverlink.
I'm not entirely sure what studio has been behind that.
Lots of Fate Ilia.
Okay.
Which is the Moe slice of life Fate. No Non Biori as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Let's Players.
It's Let's Players basically forced into like a death or survival game situation is what it seems like based on the premise or the description of the premise.
I don't know about death game. It's just they're put in a game and they have to do the game to make it back. So maybe it's a death game, but it's like let's put Let's Players in a death game and have them get out of it.
The catch being each of them are good at different types of games. And so, like, one of them looked like he was good at, like, fighters, and he looked like a delinquent. He had, like, the face mask on, and he had, like, a metal pipe or something.
Rise up, gamers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the art style and the music direction, at least, seem to be appealing enough to where this is worth checking out.
Yeah, it was just a character PV.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of showing off the characters. It was very stylish.
Yeah.
I will say. And I'm intrigued enough to at least give it a shot.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of Persona 5's opening. The game, not the TV show. So next up.
Next up we got a MAPPA show. It's an action drama called To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts.
Now, I don't know how to feel about this one, because on one hand, I've seen like some of the stuff that MAPPA's put out recently, and I've enjoyed most of the studio's work, at least. I don't know about individual directors. On the other hand, this also seems like Fairy Gone. Like, just the premise and stuff reminded me a lot of Fairy Gone.
Yeah, it looks like a more boring, equally boring version of Fairy Gone, sorry. I don't want to, be too harsh.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a war, they make super soldiers, and then the war's over, so the super soldiers have to find out how to live in society.
And there are people who are kind of keeping them in check, it seems.
Yeah, the character designs didn't look particularly inspiring.
Yeah.
It looks very... Like I don't really know how to feel about this so far from what I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another one of those, I don't know how to feel about this one. Like, it seems like another Fairy Gone thing, which, who knows? Like, maybe MAPPA will do better with this do better with this kind of series, but we'll see.
The director, he's done Hajime no Ippo was the thing.
Okay, that's right. And that was
yeah.
definitely the thing that made me go, okay, maybe the direction will at least be good.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, next up is a sports show called Try Nights. It's about rugby. These boys do not look like they should be playing rugby.
Yeah, and we couldn't find a PV for this, which I really wanted to see because, like, I don't know how you're going to fit pretty boys playing rugby, because rugby's all about, like, big muscly men smashing their bodies together.
Now,
dirt and grass everywhere.
There could be some attractive men who play rugby, but at the same time, they're usually going to be pretty freaking big, or at the very least have a lot of lean muscle to them, where they're actually going to beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. Rugby is not a good sport for these type of characters.
So the main character, he was in love with rugby, but he stopped because he's a small boy. He didn't grow anymore. But then he met another guy who's I guess really good at rugby, and then kind of like gets him a little bit more into it, and then they become this duo, I guess.
Yeah.
They use quote unquote tactics as their weapon. So it sounds like rugby, but they're the small underdog, so they're using their brains to outwit everybody.
Isn't it so kind of like Hinamaru Sumo then, right?
Yeah.
Where they're not big sumo guys, so they're kind of using like tactics over, like they're using brain over brawn. Which
in Hinamaru Sumo, the main character is small, but he doesn't use tactics. He just fucking man charges in there anyways.
Ah, I see.
But yeah, there's a lot of characters in that show that do have to use different methods. So it's by Gonzo. So they've done some.
The one thing that I know that Gonzo's done really well is The Count of Monte Cristo. That anime is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, Gonzo did Hinamaru Sumo.
Oh, that's okay. So maybe that explains why they're so similar in concept.
Yeah. Gonzo's like a really old name, right?
Yeah, Gonzo's been around for a long time. About as long as like JC Staff. Not nearly as long as Madhouse, though. Madhouse has been around for fucking ever.
Yeah, this is an incredibly long list that I'm not going to read right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, so, it might be interesting if we get to see lots of kind of like Prince of Tennis-esque brain or mind games, how they're like, oh, I have to do this to win. But like I said, we didn't really see a PV for any of the animation, so can't really say much about it. Next up, we got a fantasy adventure by Maho Film with a very long light novel name.
As is typical for light novels, Jesus Christ, just make it a simple name, for God's sake.
That is, it's untranslated, so I will do my best. It is Uchi no kono tame naraba ore wa moshikashitara mao mo taoseru kamo shiranai.
Did you get that? Good. Because, Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful.
We got a main character called Dale.
Hey, I'm Dale.
Who finds a girl in the forest who's she's like a little devil girl with I think she has like a criminal mark on her. But he brings her back home and then raises her, and it looks like it's just kind of like It looks like
it could be a relatively wholesome show.
Yeah.
Like, personally. Like, because it's about, like, it seems like it'll be about familial bonds and, like, father-daughter, like, paternal love or something like that. If they're smart, they won't try to make it like the daughter actually starts to actually get feelings for the dad.
Well, it's not like it's a birth daughter, so it wouldn't be like incest. Legal incest.
Technically not, but it's still just like, oh, come on. It's just such a trashy thing, I think. It's like, oh, of course she falls in love with him. Just like this.
I am expecting a dark turn for the show.
Yeah, because to be fair, the PV for this did look like ridiculously schmaltzy. Like,
I'm very happy.
Like about as cutesy as you can get. Like, oh, look at how sweet the little girl is. Because that's the one thing that kept going through my mind. I was like, oh, she's so cute.
It's just like at the end of this first episode or something, she's going to have a knife in her hand and it's going to be bloody. And it's like, oh, she has a split personality or something. Because she's a criminal. So either she was born and they just branded her because she was, that's like, oh, she's born as a demon, so we brand her a criminal. Or she did something really shitty.
Who knows?
So who knows? It's worth giving a shot, at least.
So next up is another, like, show that I'm fascinated by, because I've heard the manga it's based on is incredibly good. It's like Vikings meets Berserk. And Vinland Saga. And it's being done by Studio Wit, but judged by the PV, Wit did not disappoint with using its sweeping camera angles.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous. All the action scenes looked amazing.
The CG that I did see in the trailer did look a little clunky, or at the very least obvious that it was CG.
It looks serviceable.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely seems more like a function over form type of thing.
So we got Thorfinn, a Viking son with a very Viking name.
Yeah, about his Viking.
His dad gets killed by a mercenary, and he swears to get revenge. But then he has to go join that same mercenary band, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gets caught up in a war, and shenanigans ensue.
So it reminds me a little bit of like a Viking version of like 91 Days, actually. You know what that series is, right?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's basically a similar type of story, but instead of mafia, it's Vikings, a Viking revenge story, which a revenge story is about as simple as you can get, but the fact that Studio Wit is bringing its A game with the sweeping camera angles and the fight choreography and stuff, I have no doubt that it's at least going to look good. And I've heard good things about the source material too, so.
Yeah, I'm very confident it's going to be an incredibly interesting show.
Absolutely.
I'm going to watch it day one, and I'll probably end up watching it all the way through. If anything, just for those action scenes that look really amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So last on our list?
Last up, we got a comedy by Studio Passion.
Not to be confused with the mafia organization from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, studio that's done a bunch of cutesy girly stuff. Wasteful Days of High School Girls.
I don't think I'm going to watch this one, just based on the PV.
The PV seemed very bland.
Yeah.
It seems more like boring slice of life than it did comedy.
Yeah.
But, maybe the comedy is more...
through the dialogue, which we couldn't really tell because it wasn't subtitled.
Yeah. There wasn't really anything interesting. It mostly just seemed like it was highlighting the characters.
Yeah. There were two PVs. One of them highlighted the characters a lot and showed all the different girls. I think they were even using the intro song, or what I imagine they're going to do for the OP. where it's just all the girls like singing different parts. And you had like a big cast of characters. I'm pretty sure it's all the girls in this class. And then their male teacher.
He just looks like a boring guy.
Yeah. Probably doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, it's it doesn't really look that interesting, honestly.
Yeah, indeed. So that's all for the full-length things. Now on to the TV shorts. We have a few TV shorts. Not really nearly as many promising TV shorts as we did last season.
Spring was really good for short-form shows.
Absolutely. The first one is Are You Lost? A simple to the point survival show, pretty much, with comedy elements, is what it seems like.
Yeah, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah.
It's just like Survivor Man, but you have waifus.
Exactly.
Because she's just like, there's like one girl who seems to be in charge of everything. It's like, go do this and do this and do this.
And she broke like something, like a fruit or something over her head and just like doused herself in its juice or something. Because
no, that was blood.
Oh, it was blood
from a t-shirt, I think it was. She it actually might have been juices, but yeah, she was just, it looked like she was just squirting blood all over her head in the PV. It looks like a promising little short form comedy adventure.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's just, we're in the middle of a deserted island. We have to try and survive for a while, is what it seems like. It seems like it could be cute, funny. This next show, I won't even think about watching just because its art style looks absolutely atrocious. It looks like it's centered towards children, so maybe I'm being a little harsh.
Hakata Mentai, Pirikaroko-chan. I didn't even bother reading the description because it looks like a crayon drawing.
Yeah, exactly.
Little kid show that I'm not really interested in.
And I'm not interested in this next one either.
Oh man, I am. Magical Senpai. It's a comedy ecchi by Leiden Films. It's a girl who likes magic, but she somehow manages to get herself in incredibly compromising positions every time she does a magic trick.
Yeah, she's terrible. She likes magic, but she's terrible at it. And
no, she's good at it, but she has stage fright.
Oh, really?
So whenever she has an audience, she does terribly, apparently, is how it's explaining it to be.
Mm.
But yeah, it's super trashy looking.
Yeah, it looks just about as trashy as you can possibly get.
So, I'll probably watch the first episode, and then, because I watched the first episode of Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? Last season. Yeah? And that was, I was like, because sometimes you get really trashy shows that are still really funny.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was it?
Keijo?
Yeah, Keijo. Keijo was a really good one. What's it called? The Killing Bites.
Oh, Killing
really
Bites.
Trashy fun show.
Killing Bites was a really fun show, but it was absolute hot garbage.
But so yeah, there's like a dove coming out of her skirt.
Yeah,
one of the things. There's a lot.
Yeah, just apparently she has doves hidden in her vag.
Fan service.
God.
But it might be funny.
It could be very funny. Then we have SD Gundam World, which is more like kind of chibi Gundam stuff.
I haven't seen SD Gundam since I was a kid when it was on Toonami. I think. I don't even remember if it was on Toonami or not, but I remember not liking it then, and I probably won't like it now. It's like they're not toys, but they're just like tiny Gundams.
Oh, so it's kind of like Transformers GoBots.
But it's like a world where there's no people. Like they're the people, I think. If I'm remembering this right. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it.
And then lastly, the 7th season of Yami Shibai, which apparently is actually a pretty damn creepy show. Like, it kind of relies on sort of like a kind of puppetry sort of aesthetics and stuff like that. And it looks really creepy. It's not like Thunderbolt fantasy puppets, but it kind of is, it kind of looks like old-fashioned, like kind of like paper cutout puppet sort of deal. It actually, from what I've heard, it's pretty fucking creepy. So if you're into horror...
Never seen it myself.
Yeah. There were quite a few leftovers this season.
You got Ace of Diamond.
Which we did not watch.
Yeah, more baseball stuff. Because I think that was also a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is like part 2 of a sequel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carol and Tuesday, which is carrying over. Hopefully we can watch the first 12 episodes soon because Netflix limbo.
Ugh, God, I hate you, Netflix, sometimes. Jesus Christ.
Demon Slayer... which is amazing, and we're definitely going to keep watching that.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's, it's either going to be the only carryover show, or also, what was the other one?
Fruits Basket.
Fruits Basket, which it's not listed on here.
It's not listed on any chart, which I don't know if that's a mistake or if Fruits Basket is supposed to be taking a break. I hope not, because from what I've heard, it's supposed to be slated for 63 episodes.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to watch as much of it as I can, because it seems like it seems like such a pretty and such a good show.
I'm moderately worried that it might stretch itself out too thin, or like I don't know much about the source material.
I've heard that the source material goes on for quite a while, and it's and since this is a series that's getting pretty much the Brotherhood treatment, I think they're trying to adapt it as close to the original source material as possible. So I don't imagine they're gonna go like spread themselves too thin or anything.
And there's which we never even watched because the trailer looks like so much garbage, and also the general consensus on the internet is that it sucks.
Well, glad we didn't watch that one.
Yeah. That's it for carryovers. There's a couple movies coming out. The Konosuba movie.
One movie in particular that is the one. The one movie in particular I'm looking most forward to.
What about Weathering with You?
Fuck, that's right.
Was it Makoto Shinkai?
Yeah, it's another Makoto Shinkai film.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It's getting a worldwide theater release, so really want to see that in theaters. That's coming out in a little under a month now.
Yep. And then you also have a few, like, you have another movie that I'm sure some people are going to watch is Free Road to the World Yume, which is supposed to be like a remake of Dive to the Future. And it has an added new episode or whatever. I never watched Free. I'm never going to watch Free, but
I might eventually, because it looks really good.
It's Kyoto Animation.
Yeah.
And
I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard so. I've heard that it's okay.
I've just never really been interested enough to give it a shot.
Nah. I'm probably not gonna watch it, because I don't think that everything that Kyoto Animation produces is gold, but if nothing else, Kyoto Animation looks good. Like, holy crap, a lot of their shows look good, but
yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going to be coming out in summer of 2019.
Yeah, we've got, we're going to be over the next few weeks just watching some of these shows as they come out, talking about them on the show. Eventually, we're just going to be cutting them down to 6 shows, and we're going to be very briefly talking about the ones leading up to our 6 shows before we start getting more in-depth with how we talk about them each week.
Yeah.
But it's going to be another change in format. Thanks for sticking around with us for this long, guys. We're still trying to figure shit out. I'm actually looking forward to the season. It looks like it's gonna be. There's a lot of stuff that is definitely worth watching, but then there's a lot of stuff that's just like.
It seems like a more solid season than this spring. Because spring had a lot of good stuff, but there wasn't any big amazing things like Vinland Saga, Dr. Stone, Fire Force.
Yeah,
Those are the main 3.
Yeah. Spring was definitely just sort of a kind of...
Titan was like the blockbuster of spring.
Yeah, and that doesn't technically... And I wouldn't even say that technically counts, because that's the second half to a season that premiered, or that started a few seasons before.
But we'll be talking about the finale for spring pretty soon, once everything actually wraps up.
Yes, which it should be wrapping up in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then when this next season actually starts up, when we start getting shows that we can watch, we'll start doing our weekly release schedule again. Yep. Mostly talking about all the shows and shooting shit for the first few weeks.
Absolutely. So anyway, looking forward to this season, you guys. Until next time, anchor away. Take care of yourselves.